Muslims around the world began celebrating Ramadan on April 23rd, and for 30 days until May 23rd, we'll use it as a time of self-improvement, spiritual reflection, and devotion and worship. It normally involves fasting during the day, followed by fellowship along with meals. Things are different with a worldwide pandemic, that's for sure. Joining me this morning to talk about how Ramadan is being celebrated is Lubaba Abdullah, who is the Executive Director of CARE Houston, that is the Council on American Islamic Relations, and Dr. Craig Considine, who is a professor and scholar in Islam in the Department of Sociology at Rice University. Thank you both for being here this morning. We appreciate this.
Thank you so much for having me.
Lubaba, with social distancing in place this year, how has your family changed how you do Ramadan celebrations?
So we have, of course, we're social distancing, so we are at home. And so we have our suhoor, our meal before the dawn together. We have our meal after the sunset together. And then we have incorporated a few lectures, a few Islamic lectures throughout the day, and especially in that time after sunset until our night prayers. And then we do our night prayers together. And one really nice thing is my kids have taken turns leading the night prayers. And so they've really enjoyed that.
The mosque attendance has been a big part of this in the past, has it not? And how have you changed that? Via virtual?
Definitely. The mosque attendance is something that was huge. We used to go every night. And then in the last 10 nights, we used to go and spend the night in the mosque and spend the majority of those last 10 nights in the mosque if we were able to. And so not being there has been really difficult just because of the community, the fellowship. When you see other people worshiping, it pushes you to worship more. Right. But also at the same time, this being alone has been really nice because we're more introspective of what we're reading and of what we're viewing and of what lectures we're seeing and what prayers that we're making for ourselves and for our community and for the world.
Dr. Considine, speaking of the world, people in the United States may not be aware of just how large the Muslim population is in the world. Talk about how that is and how that really is, that makes up between Christianity and Islam. It's a majority in the world, is it not, or close to it?
Yeah, indeed. And if you combine those two populations, Christians and Muslims around the world, it basically makes up almost half of the world's population. So with Ramadan, you're seeing really a quarter of the human population engaging in one of the holiest periods of the Islamic tradition. And it really stems back, Ramadan that is, to the revelation that Prophet Muhammad had received from God, as Muslims believe that the revelations came directly to Muhammad, and then it started the Quran, which is the holy book of Islam. So Ramadan for Muslims and, many Christians, even like myself, it's a spiritual period that celebrates the essence of the Quran, which is mercy and compassion and justice. So it's a beautiful period of the year. One
of the things one of the writings that you did, Dr. Considine, you talked about the fact that Prophet Muhammad, for many years, that he actually at some point wrote about how to deal with something like a pandemic.
Yeah, he did. And it's absolutely fascinating because the recommendations that he provided were so specific. And there's a really good story that I'd like to share. And I wrote about it in the Newsweek article. Muhammad one time was with a Bedouin man, and they were both on camels. And the Bedouin man got off his camel and started walking away from it, and he didn't tie the camel. And Muhammad said, "Aren't you going to tie your camel?" And the Bedouin man said, "No, I'm just going to trust in God." And Muhammad said, you should tie your camel first and then place your trust in God. And I think this is really important during a pandemic because it shows us that, yes, we have to remember our faith. We have to follow our religious instructions, but we also need to use common sense. We need to be practical and we need to be rational and logical. And I think that's some really sound advice right now during this time of a pandemic.
Lubaba, talk about how in Ramadan, how is that compared to other periods of celebration for the Muslim faithful?
Well, Ramadan is one of the large periods of celebration, and we sacrifice over this entire month by sacrificing our sleep, sacrificing food, sacrificing water during the entire month. And then we have one of our big celebrations on the first day of the next month, the next lunar month, and that is Eid, and that's basically the celebration of fasting. And so that for us is equivalent to Christmas. And then we have a second one that comes during the Hajj, during the pilgrimage, where again we have another day of Eid, another day of celebration. So those are Muslims, the two biggest celebrations that we have.
How important has it been for both of you to have the understanding about other religions? Lubaba, being a Muslim and understanding a little bit more about Christianity, because you've done that. I know that you've done that because you've interacted with Dr. Considine. And Dr. Considine, you as well, being able to understand about it. Lubaba, first, how has it broadened your horizons in terms of understanding other religions? We have about a minute left.
It's really important because it helps you see that we have so much in common, that there are so many similarities between all of us. And the differences between us are not large. And all of the religions, most of the religions have the same principles of love for your neighbor, not your Muslim neighbor, not your Christian neighbor, love for your neighbor, love for your community, and caring for others, loving for each other what you love for yourself. You know, those are all themes that are carried throughout most of the religions.
Dr. Considine, I give you I'm sorry, we have to go. You have to, can you take the last 20 seconds?
It's really hard to put into words what it's meant to me to study and interact with so many Muslims over the years, but I'll just say this. It's made me a better Christian for sure, but more importantly, it's made me a better human being, and it's taught me about the richness of human civilization and the beauty of all of us, regardless of creed or faith or ethnicity.
Dr. Considine, Lubaba Abdullah, thank you so much for coming in and giving us this insight. Lubaba, blessings to you and your family as you continue with the Ramadan celebration.
Thank you.
Dr. Considine, good luck with the new baby coming.
Thank you so much.